Can you imagine lying helpless in a hospital bed, unable to walk, urinating in a cup heavily medicated on painkillers, only to discover that your own team is secretly shopping you around like damaged goods behind your back? That's exactly what happened to Brandon Aiyuk, and his explosive response isn't just making headlines. It's exposing a level of organizational dysfunction within the San Francisco 49ers that should terrify every fan who still believes this franchise can compete for championships. What we're witnessing isn't just a disgruntled player venting on social media. This is the public breakdown of trust between a franchise cornerstone and the organization that's supposed to have his back when he needs them most. And if you think this is just about one player's hurt feelings, you're missing the bigger picture entirely. This is about a 49ers organization that's rapidly losing its identity, its loyalty, and potentially its future. The moment everything changed, let's rewind to that devastating October day when Aiyuk's world came crashing down. It wasn't just any injury, it was a catastrophic knee destruction that included a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus. The kind of injury that doesn't just end seasons, it threatens careers. For 10 weeks, this elite athlete couldn't even walk. He was reduced to the most basic human functions, lying in bed, dependent on others for the simplest tasks. Now, picture this. While Aiyuk was fighting just to regain basic mobility, while he was pumped full of Percocet and muscle relaxers, while he was literally using a bedside cup because he couldn't make it to a bathroom, the 49ers front office was having conversations about trading him away. The cruelty of that timing is breathtaking. This wasn't a healthy player demanding a trade or causing locker room problems. This was a franchise player at his most vulnerable moment, and instead of rallying around him, the organization was calculating his trade value like he was a commodity rather than a human being. The YouTube confession that changes everything when Aiyuk dropped that bombshell on his YouTube channel, he wasn't just venting frustration. He was pulling back the curtain on how NFL organizations really operate when they think nobody's watching. His words cut through all the corporate speak and PR spin. They was talking about trading me while I was off Percocets/muscle relaxers and peeing in a cup by my bed. That raw, unfiltered honesty tells you everything you need to know about where his head is right now. He's not trying to be diplomatic. He's not worried about burning bridges. He's a man who feels betrayed at the deepest possible level, and he wants the world to know it. The follow-up line, "Couldn't walk for 10 weeks, ain't nobody trading for me rolling on a floor laughing skull," might include laughing emojis, but there's nothing funny about the pain behind those words. That's the sound of a player who's realized his loyalty meant nothing when push came to shove. The track record that makes this even worse here's what makes this situation so much more damaging. Brandon Aiyuk has been everything the 49ers could have asked for since they drafted him 25th overall in 2020. Coming out of Arizona State by way of Sierra College, he was supposed to be an immediate impact player, and he delivered from day one. His rookie numbers were impressive: 60 catches, 748 yards, 7 total touchdowns. But that was just the beginning. By 2023, he had evolved into one of the premier receivers in the entire NFL, posting over 1,300 receiving yards and establishing himself as the kind of playmaker championship teams are built around. The 49ers recognized his value too. They handed him a 4-year, $120 million extension, making him one of the highest-paid receivers in football. That contract wasn't just about money. It was supposed to be a statement of commitment, a promise that Aiyuk was part of their long-term vision. Yet, the moment he got hurt, all of that apparently went out the window. The ink was barely dry on that massive deal, and they were already exploring ways to move him. That's not just bad business, it's organizational betrayal of the highest order. The ripple effects, nobody's talking about what happens when other 49ers players see how the organization treated Aiyuk during his darkest hour. What message does that send to the locker room about loyalty, commitment, and what happens when you get hurt? Professional athletes are always one play away from career-threatening injuries. They sign with organizations partly based on trust that the team will support them through injuries, trust that their contributions will be valued, trust that they're more than just assets on a balance sheet. The 49ers just shattered that trust in the most public way possible. Every player on that roster now knows that no matter what they've accomplished, no matter what contract they've signed, they could be shopped around the moment they become inconvenient. That's not how championship cultures are built. That's how they're destroyed. The season that proved his worth, the 2024 season, provided the perfect case study in Aiyuk's value to this franchise. After he went down with that knee injury in October, the 49ers' offense completely fell apart. They finished 6-11, missed the playoffs, and looked completely lost without their top receiving threat. Think about that for a moment. This is a team that was supposed to be competing for Super Bowls, and they couldn't even make the playoffs without one player. That should have been Aiyuk's leverage, proof that he's not just another receiver, but an irreplaceable piece of their championship puzzle. Instead, while the offense was sputtering without him, the front office was apparently trying to figure out how to replace him entirely. The disconnect is staggering. The front office's damage control disaster general manager John Lynch has tried to smooth things over with typical corporate speak, insisting that everything is fine between the organization and Aiyuk. But Aiyuk's recent social media activity makes it crystal clear that everything is not fine. Not even close. When a player feels compelled to air his grievances publicly like this, it means all the behind-the-scenes conversations have failed. It means the relationship is broken beyond normal repair mechanisms. Lynch can say whatever he wants to the media, but Aiyuk is telling a completely different story, and his version has the ring of truth. The fact that Lynch is even having to address this publicly shows how badly the 49ers have mishandled the entire situation. You don't get to this point if you're managing relationships properly. The championship window that's rapidly closing, here's the harsh reality 49ers fans need to face. This franchise doesn't have time for extended drama and relationship repair projects. Their championship window is already narrowing with an aging roster and salary cap constraints. They can't afford to lose elite talent over preventable organizational failures. Aiyuk is 27 years old and entering what should be his prime years. He's proven he can be the kind of difference maker that pushes good teams to greatness. Losing him because of front office mismanagement would be organizational malpractice of the highest order. But keeping him might be even more complicated now. How do you repair trust that's been shattered this completely? How do you convince a player that he's valued when your actions suggested the exact opposite when he needed support most? The decision that defines everything the 49ers now face a choice that will define their franchise for years to come. They can swallow their pride, admit they handled this situation terribly, and do whatever it takes to rebuild the relationship with Aiyuk. That might mean public apologies, contract adjustments, or personnel changes in the front office. Or they can double down on their current approach, decide the relationship is irreparable, and explore those trade options they were apparently discussing while he was bedridden. What they can't do is pretend this will just blow over. Aiyuk has made it clear he's not forgetting what happened, and he's not afraid to make his feelings public. This is a player who feels wronged, and wronged players don't just quietly go along with business as usual. The larger question about organizational character, this situation raises fundamental questions about what kind of organization the 49ers really are. Are they the kind of team that stands by their players through adversity, or are they purely transactional? Viewing every player as replaceable the moment it becomes convenient? Championship organizations are built on more than just talent. They're built on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. When those foundations crumble, everything else follows. Brandon Aiyuk's public outcry isn't just about his personal situation. It's a window into how this organization operates when they think nobody's looking. And what that window reveals should concern every 49ers fan who still dreams of championship parades. The question now is whether the 49ers will learn from this disaster and recommit to the values that championship teams are built on, or whether they'll continue down a path that turns elite players into bitter enemies. Either way, Brandon Aiyuk has made sure the world is watching their next move. What do you think the 49ers should do here? Can they rebuild this relationship, or is the damage too severe? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over, and how it ends might determine whether the 49ers return to championship contention or remain stuck in mediocrity for years to come.